Hi there folks, another story for you. This one's My Inner Life by Link's Queen. Before I actually get on with it, I'll just let you know this is a Legends of Zelda fanfic, Mary Sue of Epic Precautions, and before we get to the fic itself, we have a 4-page author's rant, and so I think that'll be pretty much the first episode, all on its own, just the author's notes, nothing else. Then from episode 2 onwards, I'll go into the rest of the story. So, let's just get on with it. Author's notes. Hello. Thanks for choosing to read my story. As you might know, I have become a major Zelda fan in the last year. Ever since I played OOT, I have grown a fond interest in Link. I started to notice that after I got really into it, I found I have a strange gift. A gift to lucid dream. I started having dreams about Hyrule and about Link. In a lucid dream, you can control your dreams. The dreams became very real, kinda like a second life. And almost every night I would have another, starting from where the last left off. Even to this day, I still have them. I find they help me get through life. I know this may sound queer, but for me, the dreams sure help me out. I have shared this story with many other people, and so far, all has liked it. Now as you read this, it's told from my perspective, or first-person view. You will find that it is very detailed, since I remember it all very clearly to this day. The story takes place after OOT. Nothing after that ever happens. No Majora's Mask, no LTTP, or even Oracle of Ages and Seasons. And there is no love relation between Link and Zelda, Link and Ruto, Link and Malon, or Link and Saria. Because of my feelings about Link, the person he gets involved with in the story is myself, or actually, is my persona. A persona is, for those of you who need to know, a representation of one's personality, or in dictionary terms is persona, N, in biology, same as person. So for all you future readers, this story is based on Jenna, a child that is a representation of my personality. But if you think this might be too queer, then you shouldn't read this. This is not the type of story for those of you that dislike or cannot handle such material as the context of this story. But if you seriously believe you can handle the content of this story, then read on. If you're squeamish about sex, then you should not read this, since this story is a real lemon! And there's a lot of that, heavily detailed. Between Link and I, that is, especially during the bonding ceremony. There's also some blood content and strong adult language, so if that's too much, then you should turn back now. Now, I've not finished it as of yet. I have to catch up, since the last dream I had was just after Link and I had the blessing ceremony for our twins, our 3rd and 4th kids. Right now there's 100 to 150 pages worth. I'm expecting it to reach at least 300 to 350, probably even more. I'll try to update as often as possible. I hope some of you like this. I do not mind sharing it, but please understand that this is very precious to me as well as Link. So like I said, if the content of this story sounds too queer to you, turn back now! But for all who wish to continue, happy reading. Thanks. Link's Queen. Rated R for strong adult language, sex, violence and blood content. Again, as a final warning, this story contains heavy sex, adult language, and talks about my personal encounter with Link. This story is based on dreams about my life with him. If you find the content of this story to be offensive, queer, or playing out of the wall, then do not read on. I've gotten way too many flames about the content of this story when I place several warnings. I'll not accept any more flames, ramblings, cussing, or excessive lashing out about the charge Jenna, or reviews about the content of this story, excessive lashing out, vicious attacks against my personality, or non-constructive criticism. Any reviews submitted that do not follow the above guidelines will be deleted immediately. These warnings are not there to look pretty. The author's placed warnings for a reason. It's to tell you what the content of the story is, so that if the reader finds the content of the story offensive, they will not read on. Many authors have been complaining about unwanted, excessive, violent, and just plain nasty reviews that have been submitted by readers about their stories, causing fanfiction to grant authors the ability to delete unwanted reviews and to block certain readers. I will say this for myself and for all authors on fanfiction. No author twist your arm or hold you at gunpoint point or forces you in any way, shape or form to read their stories. All readers have the right not to read a certain story. It's your responsibility to read the warnings and decide for yourself if the contents of the story is offensive to you, and to make the choice to read on or not. And it's also the reader's responsibility to take responsibility on how they handle themselves when leaving a review for an author. Leaving a review that's violent in nature only makes you, the reader, look better, and it's very immature. If all of us here are supposed to be adults, well then, let's conduct ourselves like adults and not like little kids. I only expect violent lashing out and vicious attacks to come from teenagers, not adults. If you people really are adults that are conducting yourself in the manners I described above, you people really are scaring me. It's a damn shame to know there are adults out there who cannot conduct themselves in the simplest manners their parents have taught them. Also, leaving malicious reviews is also a sign of low self-esteem. If all you people know how to do is attack someone viciously, it's a sign of selfishness and no respect for oneself. I suggest to readers who are thinking of leaving a malicious review for me, please get a hobby and learn to control your anger, because you're only hurting yourself, not me. Also, leaving a nasty review only makes you look stupid, not me. I find it very ridiculous I had to leave a warning this long, but it's because of the very immature readers that have submitted nasty, childish reviews. Again, please read the above context before reading on. Furthermore, I've realised that this story needs some heavy grammar corrections and that the plot needs some work. Also, under the advisement of my friend who has just recently completed 2 literature classes, I stated the reason why people have classified Jenna as a Mary Sue char and labelled her as flat. She's come to the conclusion that most people don't know or understand Jenna's history. So she's advised me to create an origin story to explain about her history before she met Link. That way she'll become more rounded and give people a reason to care about her. It was never my intention to create Jenna as a Mary Sue char or to make her conceited, because I'm not really like that. Jenna is a persona char, one that represents my personality while the story is being told from her perspective. This story is not something I pulled out of my head like drawings, it came from my dreams. So I understand that revising the story is going to be hard and will take time. Since this story has been told in the exact or close to exact order it happened in the dreams, changing how fast Link and Jenna marry isn't going to be easy. Even changing how fast they have sex and revising the lemon parts also won't be easy to do. But I'm currently in the process of revising this story. I've also received a college grammar book from my friend and I'll be investing in a beta reader. I'm also considering 2 literature classes at JC to help boost my writing skills. But now I say this, if you people, the reviewers, really have the intentions of helping me, please do it positively and like a mature adult. I'm telling you that it's a proven fact that never motivate someone to change. It never has, and it never will. I'm pretty sure your parents have taught you that people only respond to positive motivation and not negative. I'm not closed-minded, I never have been. I've always been open to other people's thoughts and opinions. It's when it's done in an appropriate manner that I turn my nose at it and look away. People have to understand that when you're an adult, you need to conduct yourself like one and learn how to address other people like one. You cannot just act childish when you comes across something you do not approve of. You're only making yourself look bad and it can affect you later on in life. Acting childish and ranting and raving is something I'd expect a little kid would do when he doesn't get his way. When an adult acts childish over stupid things, that's looked down upon and considered to be unhealthy. I've seen far too many reviews left for me where the reviewers are just ranting and raving like little kids over their story because they do not like it. It's only making them look stupid and is very unhealthy. I fear that these people have some serious emotional problems if they get that upset over a story. People in control of their emotions have obtained some sort of common sense. Never let little things get them all riled up. It's very sad when one that is supposed to be an adult cannot handle them like one. I was never angry with the reviewers not liking their story. It's how they handled themselves when leaving me the reviews. Getting riled up, ranting and raving, screaming and spitting nails over their story is what caused me to get upset, not the fact they didn't like it. Also, as a side note, I never physically hurt anyone with this story. I got one reviewer that says, "Oh God, please stop writing, you're hurting everyone." Now I want to know where I physically touched that person. I want to know how I'm twisting anyone's arm to read this. I have never done anything of the sort in any way, shape or form, and I do not appreciate being accused of that. If you're emotionally hurt over this, that's your fault, not mine. I'm sorry if it did, but I've placed several warnings describing the content of this story, and if you know what it contains and you do not like this type of material, then why are you reading it? I do not appreciate getting accused for other people's actions. It's your choice as the reader to read the content of the story, and it's not my fault if it upsets you when you knew from the get-go what it contained. So please do not flame me about it. I also feel like a school teacher teaching a bunch of little kids, and I find this wasn't really necessary and shouldn't have had to come to this, but it's very hard when your reviewers have forgotten how to conduct themselves like adults. If you honestly think that being malicious is a good thing, and that you're not wrong in doing so, well then you're blinded by your own selfish pride. People with common sense learn how to take responsibility for themselves and are able to admit when they're wrong. I have found that many of the reviewers that have left me malicious reviews honestly believe that it's appropriate behaviour for an adult, when it really is that they are too self-absorbed in themselves to admit they're wrong. Again, that results from selfish pride. One too scared to admit in front of others that they just might be wrong. Also, how can any of you hold any right to call Jenna conceited when in reality you're contradicting yourselves by being conceited as well? Being conceited is again selfish pride and being self-absorbed. And yes, it is and always will be a fact that most of the reviewers have been conceited and very contradictive. Please do not leave me a review that only contradicts what you're trying to preach. You should, in reality, take your own advice. Again, I find it very ridiculous that this had to be as long as it is, but it is due to the fact that people are not conducting themselves appropriately. Also, if I do receive any more malicious reviews with screaming, spitting nails or ranting and raving over this story because you do not like it, then are too self-absorbed to admit that acting like that is wrong, well then you have proven my point. All of this is very self-explanatory. Now, please do not read on if you do not plan on leaving me a review appropriately. Well, guys, that's pretty much all of the author's notes. My God, there's so much to say about this. She is basically chastising the readers who didn't like it, the people who left the negative reviews in the first place. There's a little bit of backstory. This story was actually released in 2002 on fanfiction.net, and as you might imagine, obviously being a Mary Sue, got people saying, well, you know, you're writing Mary Sue's. So she went off on the deep end. Eventually she deleted it from fanfiction.net and re-uploaded it to an ancient tripod page where it remains to this very day. But when she re-uploaded it, this rant came first. It's the irony, the complete irony of the fact that she's chastising people for acting like children, and yet this entire author's note is her acting like a child and being basically unable to take criticism. She claims that she never intended to create a Mary Sue, and yet she freely admits it's her own persona she's put in. Now, given the fact that the Mary Sue character is always idealised, and certainly in this story that's the case, I would wager that she doesn't actually know the definition of a Mary Sue. So, yeah, it's just weird. And also the lucid dreams part of it. Now, there are plenty of people who can do lucid dreaming, so she's not really all that special in that regard, really. She just isn't. So, the writing in the caps lock, she was showing that she got a lot of anger. She clearly didn't reread everything before she uploaded this author's note, because I found there many spelling and grammar mistakes. And For anybody who doesn't know what a lemon is, it basically means pornographic fan fiction. And there's a few scenes of that, I'm afraid, in this story, so do be prepared for that, obviously. Right, I think I've pretty much done this episode, so yeah, tune in next time and we'll get on with the actual story.